Greetings, back with another one. Today's video is brought to you by, we're back to Combatpedia, and in this one they're going to be talking about a karate master that came out of Okinawa by the name of Motobu Choki. Now I've heard this name before, Motobu Choki. He was known as one of the most, I guess you could say, most hard practitioners of karate during its inception in the days of Okinawa, because a lot of people don't know karate started in Okinawa. It wasn't brought to the mainland Japan until like the late 20s or the early 30s or something like that. And I practice Shotokan karate, founded by Funakoshi. He was one of those practitioners in Okinawa who started their own you know method of karate. But Motobu Choki, I don't know too much about him, but here at Combatpedia they're gonna talk about him. But I just remember hearing his name before. But like I said, I'm rambling as always, so let's just get into it.
Choki Motobu was a prominent figure in the development of karate, particularly in Okinawa during the early 20th century. Born in 1871, Motobu belonged to the Motobu lineage, which was one of the various styles of karate practiced on the island. He was known for his strong physique and his pragmatic approach to martial arts, which emphasized practicality and effectiveness in real combat situations.
Raised in the picture.
And that's the one thing that I kind of noticed that seems to be going. I wouldn't say going away, but when it comes to the traditional arts and stuff like that, and just the original intent, I mean, most of it was based on just survival. How to approach conflict in a real life situation, just like they said. I mean, that's how a lot of the traditional art started. And when it became, now a lot of it's become commercialized and become sport and stuff like that. And I don't know, it just seems like, I mean, because when you see the I guess you can call it mixed martial arts. I tend to, I mean, I agree with Master Just speaking when he says mixed martial fighting. Mostly just fighting. Boxing, it's just boxing to me. But the traditional arts, it taught a lot of fortitude, and it taught a lot of discipline or something like that. And I'm not saying that you don't have discipline in the modern arts today, but a lot of it is aiming towards the sportive side of the house now, and a lot of the traditional stuff doesn't really become mainstream like it like the sportive stuff does. And I guess because the sportive stuff is what pays more, I guess you can say. So when it comes to the more of the traditional arts, like for example when they talk about jiu-jitsu and stuff like that, you mostly hear like the BJJ, the Brazilian jiu-jitsu. You don't really hear about the traditional jiu-jitsu unless you are a practitioner of the art and stuff like that. It's just a lot of methods and styles and systems, whatever you want to call them, that really don't capture the international attention a lot.
Picturesque Akahira village within Shuri, Okinawa, he inherited a legacy of martial prowess from his noble family. Surrounded by the echoes of ancient fighting techniques and the whispers of past masters, Motobu's upbringing was steeped in the disciplined artistry of combat. From a young age, he absorbed the teachings of his forebears, honing his skills with a dedication befitting his lineage. This upbringing laid the foundation for his later achievements and cemented his place among the luminaries of Okinawan martial arts history.
Got the boxing going against
Motobu's
karate.
journey into karate was shaped by a rich legacy of familial expertise and renowned mentors. Initiated into the art by his father, Motobu Choshin, a master of Motobu karate, he absorbed its intricacies from a tender age. Yet, his education extended beyond familial bounds. Under the tutelage of Anko Idosu and Kosako Matsumura, luminaries of Okinawa.
Yeah, that was the makiwaki, pads when they training. It's just like I said, I dabbled in a little bit of that stuff. It's just trying to build up that callus and stuff like that. I'm saying Karate is just a very hard approach. It's the hard side of the house. Just like Bruce Lee said, the difference between a kung fu punch and a karate punch. A karate punch is just like an iron bar, so it just it's the hard style, so it's force meeting force, man. And you also have a Kyokushin. It's another hard style too, but karate is just hard in general. Then you do have some karate systems that are a little bit softer, but they always got that hard base to it.
On karate, Motobu honed his skills further, assimilating diverse perspectives and techniques. This multifaceted training not only fortified his physical prowess but also instilled in him a deep reverence for the lineage and traditions of karate.
The man is built like a bear,
Motobu was known for his strong, unorthodox fighting style, which emphasized practicality and effectiveness over formality. He was one of the few karateka of his time who actively engaged in real-life fights, earning him a reputation as a formidable street fighter. Motobu's martial arts journey was unconventional. He eschewed the formalities often associated with traditional martial arts training, opting instead for a more pragmatic and eclectic approach, and he was particularly known for his willingness to engage in real fights to test and refine his techniques.
Now that was the big thing that I did hear about Motobu, that he would actually challenge to I guess to hone his skills and to really test them, like, so he challenged other practitioners throughout I believe Okinawa, but I believe at some point in his life he made it to the mainland Japan, and I believe he was challenging people there too, but maybe they'll mention it there.
Earning him a reputation as a formidable fighter.
His name became
synonymous with
skill and determination, drawing challengers from diverse martial arts backgrounds eager to test their mettle against his expertise. Engaging in numerous challenge matches, he demonstrated not only his proficiency but also his adaptability, seamlessly incorporating various techniques into his own formidable style. With each confrontation, he honed his abilities, refining his technique and strategy to overcome any opponent. His dedication to the art of combat was unwavering, constantly seeking new challenges to push the boundaries of his skill. In the arena of martial arts, his name became a legend, inspiring admiration and respect among both allies and adversaries alike.
Like I said, man, just rigorous training, man. It seems like they do a lot of I've heard about the exhaust training that a lot of practitioners do, where they would just train you until you're gassed out, and then they will start putting you in these situations of what can you possibly do when you're gassed, because obviously when you're completely gassed, there's not going to be much power there, so what can you do at that point? Obviously, in a real life situation, it shouldn't get to that point anyway. Because when it comes to people who are training, who know what they're doing, a real approach, it's just a few seconds, to be honest with you. Because most likely you will not be attacked on the street by somebody who's highly trained. It's going to be a person who doesn't have any training, and they're just, they're not going to have that control. But if they're attacking someone who does have that control, that person will probably take them down in less than a few seconds. So it's you always just apply what works, and that's what they're talking about with Motobu. He was a very practical guy, and he just wanted to apply in real life situations what would work best for, I'm sure, not just for him, but for his students and people that he trained and stuff like that. As you see with these training methods and them trying to strengthen each other.
Motobu's divergence from traditional karate doctrines, prioritizing practical combat efficacy over adherence to form and tradition, often stirred conflict with staunch traditionalists. While his emphasis on real-life combat experience...
Sorry to keep pausing it, but that is probably the con when it comes to the tradition. Sometimes with too much of tradition, it will hinder your growth, as it were, because as martial artists, we're always supposed to evolve and grow and stuff like that. So that is the one big con about being traditional and stuff like that. when it comes to the practicality, because as human beings, as we evolve and stuff like that, we're going to reach different levels and discover new methods of how we can properly defend ourselves. And like I said, I mean, it's just the creativity. So sometimes when you are just stuck and married to tradition too much, it will kind of hinder your growth. So like I said, that's why in martial arts they talk about the balance and stuff like that. You got to find that happy balance and stuff. You don't want to be too traditional, because it will kind of hinder your growth, but you don't want to lose that tradition at the same time, because it's always to have a solid so because the tradition is a good solid foundation that you should always have, at least in my opinion. Like I said, you should always have a grasp on the tradition, and then you add on to that.
Was revolutionary. It challenged the deeply ingrained reverence for kata and the traditional ways. Motobu's unorthodox approach, grounded in street fights and practical application, clashed with the conservative views of those who cherish the rituals and discipline of classical karate. Despite the friction, Motobu remained steadfast, advocating for a dynamic evolution of karate that could effectively address modern combat realities. This tension between innovation and tradition underscored the ongoing debate within the karate community regarding the essence and purpose of the martial art.
For instance, Motobu's
It looks like the Taki Shodan, when you're moving side to side on the log. That's what that kind of looks like right there.
relationship with Gichin Funakoshi, considered to be founding father
There you go, Funakoshi. There you go, right there. Founder of Shotokan.
of modern karate, was complex. Funakoshi, chosen by Jigoro Kano, the founder of judo, to develop educational karate for the Ministry of Education in Japan,
Big names right here, big
represented
names.
a more traditional and structured approach to karate. Motobu's methods were often seen as unconventional and less formal, but it was mostly Motobu's confrontational demeanor and reputation as a troublemaker that led to his exclusion from this role of spreading karate throughout Japan.
See, I didn't notice about Motobu. I mean, it seems that he was a guy who really was about, not sticking to tradition, but too much. Always like to have the tradition as your base, but you want to branch off from that. So that's what I'm getting from this. So he was a guy who really, really, went against the grain, as it were. I mean, that's what it seems like. I mean, this part I didn't know about him. I just knew that he, challenged a lot of people, and he was a very dangerous practitioner. Like, he really knew his stuff.
Apart from
I
their
don't mean
philosophical
danger as in,
differences, Funakoshi and Motobu had interactions, and their relationship was marked by disagreements. Funakoshi criticized Motobu's fighting style as too crude and lacking refinement, while Motobu viewed Funakoshi's approach as too rigid and impractical for real combat situations.
Their differing viewpoints on karate reflected broader debates within the martial arts community at the time, between those who emphasized tradition and discipline and those who prioritized effectiveness in combat. Motobu's legacy extends beyond his martial prowess. He was also a prolific author, having written books on karate and martial arts philosophy. His writings provide valuable insights into his practical approach to combat and his views on martial arts training. He left an indelible mark not only as a formidable fighter but also as a revered teacher. His legacy resonates through the countless students he mentored, instilling in them a philosophy rooted in simplicity, directness, and adaptability in combat.
In his later years, Choki Motobu continued to embody the essence of karate, imparting his wisdom to the next generation of practitioners. His legacy, built upon a lifetime of dedication to the art, transcended his mortal existence. Motobu's teachings, steeped in both tradition and innovation, left an indelible mark on the evolution of karate, especially within the Okinawan martial arts community. Even after his passing on April 7, 1944, at the age of 74, his spirit endured through the countless individuals he inspired. Today, his name remains synonymous with resilience, skill, and a relentless pursuit of martial excellence, ensuring that his contribution to karate will forever be cherished and honored.
Uh, yeah, man. I mean, Motobu Choki. I'm I can say right. I can say this right now. I'm indebted to just martial arts in general, and I'm more about the healing arts and stuff like that. I'm always about construction rather than destruction, and it's just the great thing about it is just that it's really about what you see in it. As you heard, Motobu and Funakoshi, they had their differences. You know, and that's what you're gonna get from practitioners all over the world. I mean, we're all not gonna agree on the same things. I mean, like it's a very personal journey for the individual, and that's why I took to Bruce Lee as much as I did, and still do, because when he came out with his Jeet Kune Do and stuff like that, it was a very personal thing to him, and that's how it is for every practitioner. Yes, you have some practitioners who lean more to the traditional side, maybe like 90% of it, and then you have the ones who lean more to kind of like toning down the traditions and trying to discover something new and stuff like that. So, but like I said, it's you got to have that happy medium, that balance. And I don't want to put too much emphasis on balance, because balance is it's a goal. It's not really a requirement. At least I don't like I said, I don't put too much emphasis on balance like I used to. Even in my everyday life and stuff like that, because when you try to engage and just try to measure things out all the time, it can be very frustrating for a lot of people. So, I mean, if you have at least one or two things in this life that you can excel at, I mean, that's still impressive to me. I mean, you got people who are successful and they're successful all on one side, and then they kind of lag in other things. You know, like I said, to me, it's really no wrong way to do it. Like I say, I mean, you can't force people to see things the way you see it. Either they see it or they don't. But the best thing that we can do as individuals, and this goes beyond martial arts, is just understanding. Try to understand other people's point of view, and try not to doubt, and try not to be consumed with solipsism. Be able to put yourself in other people's shoes, and that to me helps with martial arts. And I know a lot of the traditionals kind of struggle with it, because like I said, this is thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years of you know application. And when you tell people who have kind of been more on the traditional side all their lives, and then you come with an approach that challenges their dogma, I guess you can say, a lot of people are not going to respond well to it. And that seemed like that's what Motobu or Choki kind of encountered in his life. He was he just seemed like a very pragmatic guy, and he was always trying to find that answer of what can be the most practical thing for him. And he seemed to have a lot of followers, a lot of people who saw things the way that he sees it, the way he saw it. And as long as you put the art first, and as long as you are respectful, you can do a lot of good things. And it's always going to be that. And like I said, you're never alone in this world. So I mean, that's why I like doing these YouTube videos and stuff like that, and just put my 31 cents out there, like I always say, because you never know who's going to be watching. You'll never know who see things the way you do. And I'm kind of stepping out of my shell and just put my voice out there. And martial arts has always been a big part of my existence, really. And it goes beyond combat. It's mostly the psychology for me. And just knowing how to, like say, like I always say, the best punch that you could throw is no punch. And throw one if you are forced to, if you have to, if that's the last resort. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you already know that. But yeah, man, I just wanted to give Motobu Choki his due, and and kind of just put his name out there for practitioners who may not be familiar. Like I said, I wasn't too familiar, but I always knew his name, and I just wanted to clarify things up just by watching this this great piece by Combat Peter, and I'll be sure to put their channel down there so you can find it. But yeah, man, another one for the archives. 31 cents at it. It's your brother Bleak signing out. Until next time, you guys. Os!